He's Rob Hunt.
And he's Toren Atkinson.
And together,
we're Saturday Morning Cartoon Crunch! It's upside down.
Saturday Morning Cartoon Crunch! So, Rob.
Yes, Toren.
What were you doing in December of 1986?
Yeah, not a lot.
That's exciting.
Yeah. How about you, Toren?
I was watching The Real Ghostbusters on ABC television on Saturday mornings.
I might have been watching it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember watching a lot of it growing up, though I remember that about 50% of the time I'd be really upset because it wouldn't be the real Ghostbusters.
Right. It was the unreal Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it was like some dudes and a jalopy and a gorilla.
Yeah. It was just Ghostbusters, and that was a Filmation cartoon.
Yes.
Filmation, we know from Masters of the Universe.
Which is an excellent cartoon.
Some would say.
I think I would have liked the Ghostbusters cartoon a lot more if they hadn't called it Ghostbusters, because then you just like, at least your expectations wouldn't be for certain four Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it did cause a lot of confusion. And the story behind that is Filmation owned the rights to the Ghostbusters name.
Right.
Because in 1975, they had a live action TV show called Ghostbusters, The Ghostbusters.
Really?
Yeah. And it had the guy in the gorilla suit and the two dudes.
Oh my God!
I don't know about the jalopy with the skull hood ornament.
Yeah, that traveled through space and time.
Yeah. So when Ivan Reitman and the producers of Ghostbusters, the movie, came to them and said, "We want to make a deal to use the name Ghostbusters," they said yes, but they didn't say anything about a cartoon. They didn't. There was no exclusivity about a Ghostbusters cartoon. After Ghostbusters, the movie was super popular.
Yeah.
Both of these companies had rights to use the name. And so they both decided, we're going to capitalize on the success of Ghostbusters.
And make the Ghostbusters
And it won't be confusing at all for kids.
No, not at all.
So that's why there was two Ghostbusters cartoons. And that's why the real Ghostbusters, that's why they got their name, because they decided to, well, we just got to differentiate. We can't both be just called Ghostbusters. So
yeah,
they as a little like dig Filmation,
they're
like,
real.
we're going to call ourselves the real Ghostbusters.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
I was like reviewing the seasons, and I realized I probably haven't seen the entire run of the show because there were 7 seasons.
7 seasons.
But that is not even like an indicator because the second season was monolithic.
Yeah, so the first season, which was on ABC, was 13 episodes.
Which is not bad.
That's perfectly fine. And I loved all season 1 episodes. At the same time, they were also making season 2, and it was for syndication.
What does that mean?
That means it's not just NBC. It's not just ABC.
Yeah. Anyone
can buy the cartoon run to play on their TV station. So for a while, and season 2 was 65 episodes.
Yeah. 20-minute episodes?
Yeah. So you could watch like 7 days a week. You could get Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters. There were times I remember because I had my DVD, my VHS player,
right,
and Ghostbusters was airing on different channels at the same time.
Yeah,
and they were different episodes. So I would go in, I would put the VHS in the player, and I would have to switch back and forth to see, do I have this episode already? So on ABC, if they started an episode and I already had it, I would switch over to whatever the other channel
right, because you were recording all
and of course, I missed the first 7 seconds or whatever, and I was like, oh, yeah. but there was a lot of Ghostbusters for a while. And then as ratings begin to flag, the ABC hired a consultation firm called Q5.
Right.
And Q5 said, you need to soften the edges.
Okay, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. So Janine had a makeover. Mm-hmm. The other characters had more subtle makeovers. Slimer got rid of his tail. No, Slimer got a tail.
Oh, because
so that one was less soft.
Right.
That one became pointier.
Yes.
but the other edges were rounded. And that was about the time they changed the voice actors as well.
Yeah. So now there was an interesting story about how Peter Venkman, Bill Murray, like watched it and made an offhand comment to someone. It's like, this guy sounds like Garfield, because he was the voice of Garfield.
Yeah, that's Lorenzo Music, and he was the voice of Garfield. And he was, I knew him first as Carlton, your doorman from, what was that sitcom? the Mary Tyler Moore Show, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
That could be completely wrong. But yeah, so he was the voice of Garfield, as well as the voice of Peter Venkman. And then, according to an interview on the internet, Ivan Reitman was having lunch with our good friend
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Thank you. And Bill Murray said he loved the show, but why does the guy voicing me sound like Garfield, and why doesn't he sound like me? And so Ivan Reitman went to the producers of the Ghostbusters cartoon and said, "You should change the voice." So it's not so Lorenzo Music.
But this is
like,
probably Peter.
You're
this
fired.
This is probably Bill Murray making a joke, not like.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was probably making a sarcastic offhand remark, and then Ivan Reitman says, "Oh, yes, sir." And then, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but the voice did get changed.
And then didn't Ray's voice get changed as well?
No, Ray's stayed. Ray was Frank Welker.
Yeah,
who we know as Megatron.
Oh wow.
And Freddy and Scooby-Doo from Scooby-Doo.
Right.
And
he had a strong Fred vibe from it.
Yeah, totally. And he was Ray throughout the entire series.
And he sounded a lot like Dan Aykroyd.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, he sounded like if him and Fred
kind of like
from
a generic.
Scooby.
He was kind of a generic white guy.
Yeah.
Right. Egon.
Yep.
Was voiced by Canadian voice actor Maurice LaMarche.
Okay.
And that also, Maurice LaMarche played Egon throughout the entire series.
Right.
And unlike the other actors, he did do an impersonation of Harold Ramis.
Okay.
The other ones
didn't.
They were told to do their own thing.
And then didn't Winston change?
Winston changed, and interestingly, the fellow who played Ernie Hudson, who
actually played
Winston, auditioned to play Winston in the cartoon, and he did not get it.
That sucks. Oh, wow.
And they gave it to Arsenio Hall.
Well, if you're going to lose to someone, I mean, if I had to voice myself in something and then Arsenio Hall came in, I'd be like, you got to go with Arsenio.
Yeah. But then he was changed to Buster Jones for seasons 4 through 7. Buster Jones, not as famous as the other voice actors, but he played Black Vulcan in the Super Friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then not to dismiss Janine's voice actor.
Right.
Laura Summer. And then she was changed, again, the rounding of the edges, the softening.
Yeah.
She became a more mother-like figure.
Oh, right. Yes. Those four cantankerous boys.
Kath Soucie. For seasons 3 to 7. And when they brought in, so going to season 3 now.
Yeah. So 2 was monolithic.
And
then they got advice on season 3 plus.
Yeah. And the other changes were they brought in Walter Peck. From the movie.
Not to be confused with the Western singer Orville Peck.
No. They had an episode where they brought in Walter Peck. They brought in Louis Tully.
Okay.
Who was voiced by Squidward. Louis Tully.
Oh, wow.
Louis Tully is the character. Roger Bumpass is Bumpass, yes, is the voice actor. And the other thing that happened in season 3 was the Junior Ghostbusters came on board. Again, to bring in the kids. We want to identify with the kids. Here's the thing about cartoons. Kids don't want to see themselves as much as producers think that they want to see themselves. Because kids want to look up to someone. I want to be like them.
I want to pretend to be an astronaut, not a kid themselves as an astronaut.
Exactly. So season 3 had 13 episodes. Season 4 had 8. And that was also the time they brought in, I don't know if you remember, Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters. It was just Slimer and the character from that hotel from the original Ghostbusters.
Yes.
The snooty hotel guy. And then a stereotypical Italian cook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And these would be 10-minute shorts that they would put around a half an hour regular Ghostbusters episode.
So didn't they went too far on the softening and it started not doing well and they went back? I remember seeing something about that. Wasn't there a backtracking of the...
not as much, but they did do an episode. So one of the writers that was very involved in the Real Ghostbusters was J. Michael Straczynski, who you may know from Babylon 5, creator of Babylon 5.
Yes.
I believe it was him who wrote the episode Janine, You've Changed, where they would address canonically how Janine changed from the earlier seasons to the later seasons. And she had apparently made some deal with the devil or something like that to become more attractive to Egon.
Oh, wow.
And so that's why she had actually changed in universe.
Yes.
So that was kind of interesting. And then as the later seasons, they went from 21 episodes to 16 episodes. The last season was four episodes.
I very likely have not seen season 7 then.
The best episodes were season 1, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And a handful from the syndication.
So the syndication, was that the one they made softer, or did they make it after they made
After the syndication.
So the season 2 is still probably...
Season 2 is like peak Ghostbusters.
Yeah, because there were some of the episodes that were very in the vibe of the movie, where like it felt like actually adult movie, like, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
and speaking of the movie, they had tie-ins with the movie. There was a specific episode called Citizen Ghost that happens right after they defeat Gozer.
Oh, wow.
And it explains how they changed their costumes.
Okay.
To the colored costumes.
Yes, so you could tell them apart.
So you could tell them apart. And it was a whole story where the costumes had become like soaked with spectral energies.
Right. So they actually, they were sentient or were like moving around or
so
haunted.
there were like haunted costumes.
Yeah.
And the other, and that's where they found Slimer as well, was in that episode. And then the other part that connects to the movies is an episode called Take Two, where they fly to Hollywood to consult on the Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's like the classic implication that they're real or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the end of that episode, they actually go to the screening, and in the cartoon, they're watching the live action movie.
Oh, wow.
For like the first opening.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, just the opening credits, yeah.
So now, did they ever mention Shandor? Or Gozer the Gozerian?
They mentioned Gozer many times. Usually it says like if you want to compare what's on the screen, like how dangerous is it? Oh, the Cthulhu episode, the Collect Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
They had a line in there. It makes Gozer Cthulhu makes Gozer look like Little Mary Sunshine.
Oh, okay.
So you know it's serious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then now, have you ever played the video game?
I played the Xbox one.
Right, the one that was written and voiced by them?
The one was voiced by the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, which is sort of like the third Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that was supposed to be like the third, quote-unquote, Ghostbusters movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I never finished it. It was too hard. I got stuck.
Yeah. I played it on easy. I just wanted to watch the interactive movie.
Yeah, totally. And I think, lastly, we could talk about likeness rights.
Likeness rights.
It's a thing in the TV and film industry, which you might know a little bit about.
A little bit? I'm just a camera assistant. If you want me to get you a lens, I can get you a lens.
So likeness rights. So a lot of people ask, why didn't the characters in the cartoon look like the characters in the movie? Like Egon has become blonde. He's tall. He's got a different hairdo.
Yeah, he's got a distinctive hairdo.
Yeah. And Peter doesn't really look like the Peter from the movie.
Yeah.
They didn't want to bother with if you make a character look like a real actor,
do you have to pay them?
That's going to be some Skrilla, some scratch.
Okay.
So they're like, we want to get away from that. They didn't even bother to ask the actors, like,
even if they just didn't care, and they were like, go ahead.
We just want to avoid it altogether. So rather than pay likeness rights. And I think to some extent that also it has to do with the voices as well.
Right, yeah.
Which you don't. I know I said that Maurice LaMarche did an impression of Harold Ramis, but you don't want them to sound exactly like.
Right, or if all of them, like maybe that one sounded wasn't a big deal as much as all of them.
It's all very nebulous.
Yeah.
And then another cartoon animation principle is from a design perspective, you want the characters to be you want their silhouettes to be very identifiable from a distance.
Yeah.
So that's why Egon is so much taller than Ray. Ray is they made him chubbier.
Yeah.
They made Ray a lot chubby in the first, especially in the first season.
I wonder if Dan Aykroyd had anything to say about that.
He got thinner after the Q5 consulting firm business. He got thinner. But so that's and also with the color coded the costumes as well. That's for the kids, you don't want them to get confused.
Yeah.
So those are the main reasons why they didn't look the same as the movies.
What time is it? It's crunch time!
today's article is Ghostbusters Afterlife cereal.
Okay, so this isn't actually the real Ghostbusters. This is the new movie.
Yes.
The tribute to Egon movie.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Let's crack it open.
All right. Did you want to? You brought it.
Sure, I
Maybe
guess so.
cheat it to camera when you open it. Come on. You've done your fair
I've
share.
done this before.
Yeah, you're a model. You know this stuff.
Check out those colors.
Ooh, that's terrifying. Ooh, that's
The real Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters cereal, had green and purple marshmallow. This one is white and blue. Let's check it out.
when.
Okay.
All right. Now we've gone a little bit down to earth with Earth's own oat milk. After extensive research
Yes.
and much testing and throwing out of stuff I bought, the oat milk is the best. It's the closest. This is unsweetened. It is like the closest to milk I have tasted. It's a bit gray. It's not white, but at least it tastes like milk.
I love it. Good. Well, maybe it'll add to the afterlife theme if our milk is gray. So we got that pallid, dead color to it. Oh, we forgot to do the sniff test.
Smells like sugar.
It smells like fruity cereal.
Yeah.
You know? The original Ghostbusters cereal, it was lasted for 5 years, 1985 to 1990.
I mean,
It's crunchy. The crunch factor is there for the time being.
there's a hint of fruit, but not.
It's not like Fruit Loops fruit. What are your first impressions?
Well, I've actually been enjoying this like healthy cereal called Magic Spoon, and it's weird because it has a bit of a powdery sort of aftertaste to it, but the Fruit Loops they make taste like Fruit Loops, and
Right.
this kind of has the same like powdery, except Magic Spoon has a ton of protein and is not loaded with sugar, and I'm betting that this is like more than my.
It says it's got fruity flavored sweetened corn puffs with marshmallows and other natural flavors, including ectoplasm. I'm not super into it. It's passable. Speaking of which, this actually best if used by 2 months ago.
Oh, this is clearly what the problem is then.
But it's an afterlife cereal. I didn't want to eat it
Yeah.
before it expired. That would be off brand. So maybe that has something to do with it, but I don't think so. Like 2 months. You know, the deal with best buys, best before buys. I've heard Canadian farmers complain about this on television and YouTube. It's basically a marketing scam.
Yeah, you gotta throw it out.
You want to buy more. You want to put the fear of sickness into you.
Botulism.
So, I don't know. Do we have anything else to say about this cereal?
I mean, I thought it was going to be like basically like the alphabet cereal with marshmallows in it, which I would have liked. This, I don't know.
It doesn't taste. It needs more slime.
That's starting to happen now.
It is a little bit. I'm gonna eat just the marshmallows. So the question we always ask after we try the cereal is: would you rather eat another bowl of cereal or watch the cartoon that we talked about, the real Ghostbusters?
And I have to pick one or the other.
Yeah,
I would pick the cartoon because I'm totally.
me too.
But now, would you rather eat more of this or watch the Slimer cartoon? I think I'd rather eat this.
Yeah, the Slimer and the real Ghostbusters was lame.
Yeah. I think it's that thing where people who think they know about kids think kids are awfully dumb.
Yeah, for sure. How did you like the movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I loved it. I loved it. It was
Yeah.
great. 100%.
It was. I liked it. I went in expecting more comedy because the first two movies were comedies.
Yeah.
And this one was not a comedy
But
until the very end, which we don't want to spoil.
Yeah. I mean, Paul Rudd was great in it.
Yeah.
I liked that it felt more like something geared towards people who maybe love the original movies and they could take their kids to it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. Did you know that there was a real Ghostbusters episode called Egon's Ghost?
No.
Because Egon died, and they had to go into the netherworld to get his ghost back.
Oh,
to get his ghost back into his body.
so he was some sort of undead after that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was called Egon's Ghost. And that, you should watch it.
I will.
It's interesting.
Yeah, no, that's strangely prophetic.
Yeah. Well,
Cheers.
I think we're done.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. I'm gonna go watch the real Ghostbusters now.
Let's do that. We'll see you next time on Saturday Morning Cartoon Crunch.
Yeah. The oat milk works though.
I think so.
Yeah.